Thank you, Martin, for creating such an incredible debut film, feature film.
Thank you.
I have to say that you have such an incredible energy in your filmmaking, and your aesthetic is very, very unique. So thank you for that. It was a
Thank you.
very profound film as well, and resonated very much with me. So I want to say thank you. You chose very, just right off the bat, you chose themes of death and grieving of a loved one as a father and as a husband, which is an extremely weighty subject matter. Um, can you speak to how you came to tell that particular narrative and how you and Laura,
Laura, yes, you're right. Yeah.
yes, Laura, your partner, came to write this narrative?
Yes, good question. Yeah, I wrote it with Laura, who's indeed my partner in life as well. We have two children together, um, and we always say this is our third child in a way. This film, but we never set out to write a heavy film about grief or about loss. It's sort of came about that way as we found, like, as we live together, we go through life as these treasure hunters and find all these stories, and we know these stories from each other. And when we started to write about this film, to write this film, we just collected them like a puzzle. And like there were three main subjects that intrigued us so much that came the core of the film. And while writing, and actually, to be honest, even after it got released in the Netherlands, when people said, "Oh, it's such a heavy film about loss. Why did you want to make this heavy film about loss?" Like rightfully, you're asking as well. Uh, but we never set out to make that. We wanted to make this film about how in these hard times in life, um, also you need to find, you need to go back to yourself, to and to try to find a way to love life again. As I hope in the end of the film, as it is a heavy subject and a heavy story, as it in the end of the film you are rewarded in a way as well, and you suddenly start to uh, I hopefully realize that all these small things and in life are the most important ones actually. And so yes, it's heavy, but hopefully it's also told in a light-hearted, well, in a filmic light way. That's why we also put a lot of emphasis on the children. um, and yeah, and so we set out to make a film about this diving, about the clairvoyancy, about with the phone booth. These were for us the main topics that we really got excited about, and we weren't excited about loss. Well,
Thank you for that, Martin. Yes, we've come out of COVID with a lot of loss and a lot of
yeah,
people
yeah,
coming to terms with grief. So I think it was really brave of you to make the film as well. I mean,
yeah.
it's not an easy theme to actually tackle, and the way in which you did it was very sensitive and very profound and very beautiful. Um, I want to speak to you about the technicalities and the aesthetics of your filmmaking. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you used particular using 16 by 9 and then going to the 4 by 3 aspect ratio, which I thought was unique and really brilliant. I mean, to experiment with those kinds of things. And then you use this incredible opening shot, and a lot through the movie, at least another 4 times, you use the opening shot, which is like almost like a panoramic tilt and
Yeah.
reveals character and the character's face. And the emotion that the character is going. So I want to ask you, and also your score that you used, how did you show us as a filmmaker the internal world of your character, the internal world? How did you make it visual for us?
Well, actually, you're answering it yourself in a way.
Yes,
As a
yeah.
filmmaker, you try to um, there's always this dancing between the scene you're telling, the actual story, and also what's the core, what's underneath, what's the actual thing we're talking about here? What's the feeling we are trying to tell? That's a weird thing. And the feeling we're trying to tell is the way to tell it is hidden in all these things you just mentioned and a lot more. So uh, for instance, as you say, well, the music is an obvious one. That's if you know if you find the right one, I'm not speaking to your mind, I'm speaking to your heart.
Mm,
So we experimented with that a lot, and we also as actually music in the film is also the piano
mm,
playing is actual
mm,
part of their lives as well. So it's
mm,
not only the film score. Um, but the square the framing the for instance it's an of course it's locking the characters up the world starts wide open, and then we lock them up in a smaller world. We narrow their vision, we narrow the world. um, I think it's a beautiful framing for portraits, as we are really close to the characters a lot. So the children and the woman, and we want to separate them. Each time you see them, they're alone and they're locked. If they look there, there's nothing. So they're in this. So that's a literal translation of their state of mind. And of course, in the end, well, not I don't know if I can, but we open up in a way. You
mm,
know, when
mm,
they
mm,
find each other, these different
mm,
that's what they need to do in the film. They need to find each other. When they do, we open up again. um, but also the framing for us, we found, as it's a small location story and the house plays such a big part,
mm.
and the
Yeah.
house has a lot of history of him. There's also the emotional story. We found that if we do a framing like this, suddenly, for instance, now
Mm,
if
mm,
you know if I'm on, you can
mm,
frame me here, and you see the guitar starts playing a role
mm,
instead.
mm,
We and this way we found the house, the walls, the drawings on the stairs, the
mm,
house in a wide shot was not in the
mm,
forest, but it was a bit drowning in the forest because
mm.
it's a different way of telling the story by framing up and down in a square frame instead of a wide frame.
Mm.
So all these things, yes, you're right. All these things we try
Your
to
color palette as well. I mean, your color palette created that mood, which was uh, magical as well as eerie, and so
yeah,
your color
yeah,
palette was amazing that you used
yeah,
throughout the movie, and the way you lit your characters was remarkable as well. So
yeah,
kudos to
yeah.
that.
Yeah. Well, that's also to my production designer and of course all the DOP and all these people who. But again, if the nice thing what I found with this film was that we build it all on this. So this is amazing production designer, amazing camera
Mm,
person, but by building it all their talent on the same core, then they start like making each other building off each other's work as well. So
mm.
they start making each other better in a way. So it was nice to find, and yeah,
Wonderful. And then you bring together these unique themes of clairvoyance, deep sea diving, grief, etc., which you spoke to earlier on. It was quite a unique take on clairvoyancy, because I share, I'd been reading about how you also think of clairvoyancy. You don't have, I mean, I've never been to a clairvoyant, for instance. So you have a kind of skepticism about it. But the way in which you treated it was just matter of fact, which I kind of like, almost observationally. Can you comment on that?
yeah,
What did you want your audience to feel when they saw that?
yeah. So the personal bond to this clairvoyancy is that my mother has this gift, which I'm, as you say, quite skeptical towards as a son. Also, I don't want people to think she's crazy, and I know she's not lying or con artisting anything, but still, I don't see it the way she sees it. But of course, Laura, she is like, oh, my mother-in-law, amazing. She's attracted to the story. So, and I am as well. But as a skeptic, I think it's maybe a good position to to put in the film, especially in Holland. I think, I don't know, well, in Holland most people are skeptical about it. So I was maybe the right person to tell this story, as I'm the critic on her. But for the film, it needed to be real. I wanted to say to the audience, okay, uh, I know maybe you're skeptic to it, you don't believe it, or you do in real life. It doesn't matter. For this film, take my hand. Let's say she can. So that's why I made this. She's a grounded woman in the film. She wears boots. She's earthy. She is. And as you say, if we go into this world with her, she's not interpreting. She's just saying what she sees. She doesn't say, I see a refrigerator. So that means maybe you're a cold person. And she starts, that's not what she's doing. She
Yes.
just says, I see a fridge. That's it. So that makes it, so there's no fooling anyone. She's just saying it as it is. And that was very important for me to say to the audience, okay, she can do this because it's an very important element to the story. She can do this, and please join me. At the end, go into your own life and discuss it. But for this journey, let's come along. Yeah.
Thank you, Martin. I also have to comment on the acting. I think the acting was just incredible and superb. And you worked with two child actors, Step and Lola, and the acting that you got out of them was just incredible. They were so charming, so innocent, so beautiful in how they carried the characters. You want to talk a little bit about that as a filmmaker and directing children and bringing out such incredible acting from them?
Yeah. Well, they are first and foremost. They are these incredible children you see. As um, children are the most honest people to work with, actually, because someone like Tekla, who is exceptionally honest and great, but she is also a talented person who can, if I didn't write it or direct a scene well, with her talent, she can bend it and she can make it look well in a way. But then I'm a bit fooled because by her acting, she makes it look well. If a child plays the scene, it's it sucks. It's not good. If it's not good, it's not good
Yeah.
because the child is just honestly reacting to it. So um, so that's a good measure while writing and directing. These two kids, Sep, the boy, never did a casting even, so it was his first casting ever, and it ended up being this big part of the film. He has this beautiful face with this world hidden behind these eyes, which I saw directly on tape. We all saw it, but then he never acted. So we did several rounds of casting to be sure that how can we. This first acting wasn't that good, but then the second was like triple as good, and then the third was, and then he just build and build and build on it, and we started to find a language together where I can talk to him and say things, and he will just stay in the scene. And when I say, "Okay, now you stand up," and he stands up, so we started to find this way of talking together, and this world behind his eyes became also visible in his acting. And with the girl, it was the other way around. She was this happy, powerful girl coming on the casting, and she grabbed the camera. Hello, here I am. Like, whoa. She was like rewritten, but we thought we'll never find her. And with her, it was the other way around. We had to slow in the casting rounds find this hidden this pain behind her eyes in a way. We had to. What if she sits still and does nothing? Can we see this hurt is there as well? And it was in a way, and she showed it in the film as well. So I'm really happy that they became such a big part of the film, and they did so well. Yeah.
So, Martin, we need to wrap up. I just want to say thank you for making such an incredible film. And I know in Durban and South Africa, people are going to really resonate with the film. Clairvoyancy is very real here across
Good, good.
cultures. So I think people will resonate with this film. It's a beautifully made film, and congratulations to you. I
Well,
don't know if you want
thank
to
you.
have any closing remarks that you
Yeah,
have.
well, first of all, thank you very much for having me and for showing the film at the festival. Uh, and as I was seeing, there's an amazing, a lot of amazing films there. So I'm really happy to be one of them. And yeah, that's. I hope that the audience can relate to it. And as you say, that was my guess as well. That the open-minded or the way the culture works there. I'm really curious how the film resonates with them. Um, uh,
But you've
but
also told
I'm
a universal story. You've told a universal story that speaks to everybody about grief and love and healing.
as you
So,
say, we all in life encounter these moments, and especially making it in COVID times. Actually, while shooting, we were really close. Actually,
mm,
to well, we were in the heart of it, of course, and it was a it was everywhere, as you say, as you know. So I'm happy we made it, and yes, it's a universal theme. So um, I hope people also enjoy it and not feel like it's a heavy burden, but also it lightens your life because it's a part of life, and um, embracing it is better than shoving it away, I guess. So
thank
thank
you,
you,
Martin. Thank
thank
you.
you too, thank you, and uh, I guess that.